Everybody, we are here with Becky with an awesome story of a life change and a health change. I'm honored to have you here with us. Tell me a little bit about what your history of your health has been like losing weight and health and all of the things.
Well, I've always worked out a lot. I have played sports my whole life, play a lot of tennis here. I always thought I could outwork out my diet, burn more calories and I could eat whatever I want. It used to frustrate me because I would work out 3, 4 hours a day and not lose any weight. So frustrating. And I started to get hurt more. Didn't really equate anything to diet. Just, I figured I was just doing too much exercise. I was getting older. And at that time, then I decided to try 75 hard and I did the online program where you're with somebody from First Form, which they're great, but they didn't really teach you nutrition. They just up your protein. And so I learned a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. 75 hard is one of the hardest things I have done. And I did it and lost weight. But then as soon as I stopped, it came back. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do the year-long program because I'd started coming back that first month. And I kept trying to do phase two, for just 30 days. And it's like, I just did 75 hard and it was so flipping hard and I can't do 30 days. I couldn't get back on it. It was very frustrating. So I finished out that year. It was summer. My knees started to hurt so bad that I literally thought I wasn't going to be able to walk. I mean, forget running, forget tennis, forget everything. I couldn't go on my walks. And that was really hard. And I thought, dang, this doesn't make any sense. What's going on? And so I went to the doctor, like most people do, and they did stem cell where they drill a hole into your hip and they take out stem cells and they inject them into your knees. And let me tell you, I did 3 rounds of it and it hurts like crazy. And it did help, definitely helped. But then the same problem came back. And I won't say it got worse, but it was literally to the point where I'd wake up and think, okay, can I play tennis today or not? I can't run. So, I was really struggling for a while there.
So thank you for sharing. I think a lot of people, as they age, I think there are a lot of Americans right now that wake up stiff and achy, or their knees hurt, or they have arthritis, and they think this is normal. I was an athlete, or I've used my knees too much, or I have this injury. I now have this pain that is, it's of course I'm this age, but you now know that with diet stuff, that doesn't exactly have to be the case. So when you
So
came, I remember our first call, I remember where I was sitting. You said I did 75 hard and then I fell off. And so now I've gained the weight, my knees hurt. And what I just felt is like a defeated thing in you. You're like tired. And I was like, we can teach you to change the story of your health for the last time. And what we do is we educate you on stuff about your health. We fix your blood sugar and your thyroid and your inflammation so that the body comes into balance and you learn what foods are right. And then we work on mindset stuff so that you feel solid in yourself to trust these things.
I was dedicated. You can do anything for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. But if you don't change what you're doing and change your mindset and your lifestyle, you go right back. And I was unwilling to go back. This was it for me. I had to make some lifestyle changes because believe me, at this time, I'll be honest, I didn't trust all your stories or you're saying people, they heal their knees and they're feeling great. I didn't even care about that. I just wanted to drop some weight and get a little bit healthier so I could walk. I mean, I could walk my dog. That's where I was thinking. I wasn't thinking about doing any of the things that I currently am doing. I mean, I'm training for a marathon that I'm running in 2 weeks, and then I got another one this fall. I feel amazing. I do not have pain. If you would have told me this stuff when I started with you, I would have thought, all right, yeah, sure, whatever. But truly, within a few weeks, the pain was going away. Getting rid of the inflammation in my body, what an incredible difference it has made. I used to go get injections to break up some of the arthritis in my big toe every 2 months. Well, I didn't even realize I had missed. Apparently, they called. I said, no problem. I'll reschedule. I never rescheduled my appointment. I went 5 months and they called me. Are you coming back in? Didn't even know I had missed it. I it's amazing what the proper nutrition can do. And I just didn't know. I almost feel cheated now because I didn't know.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So fascinating. So you heard me tell us stories about how people's knee pain went away and everything, and you were like, "Oh yeah, right."
I
Uh,
I totally did. Yeah, 100. I
I love.
thought whatever. If she can just help me walk and not be in pain, it's worth every dollar.
Yeah. So I was on a trip and I was walking and I had my phone and Becky sends me this text and she says, my eyes like welled up when I read it. And you were like, months ago, I thought I would need a knee replacement and I just PR'd my race.
And I am running faster now than I ever have. I started running, I think it was 2006. I started running, but the last two races I've done, I have finished in the top 10, which just blows my mind. And I think I was in the top three in one of them. Just amazing to me that I can do that at this age. And we're not talking, I mean, there are more than 10 people. I mean, there's thousands of people in these races, and I'm just getting faster and faster. I mean, I'm 53. Who thinks of that stuff? That I would be PRing every week. Every week. I mean, I literally just ran this past week 20 miles in a day. And I got faster as I went along. I mean, that to me is, in my mind, I never thought I'd be able to run a marathon again, ever. I had run four, and I said, I'm never doing this stuff again. But then my son asked me, so of course you got to do what your kids, you want to do things with them. And it's great. He is 24 and I am beating him every race, not just by a little bit, but by a lot. And I have to say, it's kind of fun.
I love it. And here's the thing, you gave yourself this gift. So if there's anybody listening to this, whether you're older than 53 or younger than 53, if your joints anywhere in your body, even if it's carpal tunnel that you think is from your mouse, and your doctor has said, oh, you have arthritis, that there is a high likelihood that when the body comes into balance, you will experience what Becky experienced. And the same with me. I have two injuries, one in my shoulder and one in my knee. I thought for sure I would need shoulder surgery at some point. I don't ever feel my shoulder anymore. So the injury is actually there. The arthritis is actually there, but when you remove inflammation, you can't feel it. Marcy, thank you for joining today. And basically what I want to know is to have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your health journey, what it was like, sort of your whole life on the yo-yo health journey.
All right, here we go. I turned 60 this year, so let's start with that and then backwards from there. I had kids when I was about 38 years old, and then I just never lost the weight. I tried and tried, and working out worked for a little while, but I would, fall out of sync with that. Or, a certain program would work for a while, and I just couldn't keep up with the requirements of what I had to eat. I did all the diets from, you only eat this one thing, or eat all this fake food from a box, or I did all those different kinds of diets. And I lost the same 20 pounds probably about 5 times. So, it was a feeling of just chasing something I couldn't attain. And I felt like I was just continually failing because I'd do something for a while and then I'd fall off the wagon. And then I'd start, going after the things that I shouldn't be eating. And what it caused too is over time, I went from, oh yeah, I'm now on an aspirin regimen with my doctor, I've added, medication after medication after medication. And finally, I was on a total of about 6 different medications to control blood sugar, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. So all of that, and then, hitting this milestone of turning 60, I didn't want to become another statistic. I've had friends who've had severe health problems, a friend that recently passed away from a heart attack. And I knew the path that I was on wasn't leading up to me having a long and healthy life. And so I needed to make some changes and some big commitments to myself. And that's how I found Courtney.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Can you tell me a little bit about other things going on in your body, like joint pain, gastro stuff, your mood,
Oh
energy,
yeah, check,
energy?
check, check.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the above. And my office, I don't know if you can kind of see my background here. I'm up in the loft of our house, and I have to go up, a couple flights of stairs to get here. And going up and down those stairs all day long, every day, was just killing my knees. I mean, I was holding onto the rail on one side with both hands to go up and down the stairs, and I kind of limped and lurched as I walked because I couldn't walk straight down the stairs. And I'm up and down the stairs all day now. But also what happened last year was I went to a podiatrist because I've severely injured my ankle over the years through different sports activities and stuff like that. And so what was put in front of me was I needed to have some pretty major reconstructive surgery on my ankle. And I decided I didn't want to do that at the weight and the condition that I was in. And so that was another, reason for me starting on a program like this, to really be able to lose some weight, get my muscles strong enough to be able to endure that. But I wasn't able to even walk comfortably, without severe pain and then having to ice all day long too, in order to lose the weight. So, but now where I'm at, as you know, Courtney, I mean, I can walk, I can run up and down the stairs. We just got back from a week-long trip at Lake Powell, and we were hiking and jet skiing, and my activity level has increased dramatically. And just the day-to-day stuff that we take for granted, and, my body, thinking, oh gosh, I'm 60, so I shouldn't be able to do that anymore. That's not true. And I mean, we've got little stairs here and there that I just jump right over them. And here's me with this, messed up ankle, being able to do all these different activities again. So, it's improved, I think, my outlook on life too, because not only do I have more energy, but I can do this stuff, and I'm 60, and isn't that cool? So that's kind of that side of the story too.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. So what I want a lot of people to know is they have many people have arthritis, and they think, well, the doctor said I have arthritis. This is how my joints feel. But our food, the inflammation level in our body is really affecting it. And often people come for certain medical conditions, and then they say, oh, well, I have this joint pain. And I say, well, we're high likelihood we're going to be able to get rid of this. And I think people think, oh, yeah, right. Like,
Yeah, I did too.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. And I remember the first time you asked me, how's your ankle doing? How are your knees? And how are those stairs? I was shocked because I hadn't even thought about it. It wasn't even an issue. And that was probably like what, maybe a month in to, the changes in my diet. Yeah.
How much have you lost now?
I've lost about 28 pounds.
Yeah.
And
So you
yeah,
crushed your 20 pound.
I got over that.
Got over that.
And it was scary when I hit that number. I'm like, what do I do? I'm at that number, and it was okay because I just kind of powered through it. And it usually ends up to be kind of a plateau for me. And plateaus are, kind of a struggle anyway. But I wrote down in my journal one day that I really wanted to look at plateaus as an opportunity to just sit with where I'm at and enjoy the fact that I've had this much progress, and then take a breath and move forward again.
Tell us all of the health benefits, things that have happened with like your medication and weight, because now we're past the 20 pounds and we're going way past that. You're going to go way past that. What are the other things that have happened?
Well, health-wise, I mean, definitely, the medication reduction. And that was a big goal for me within this program too, is that I wanted to be able to reduce the medications that I'm on. And I've cut them in half. So I'm no longer even taking any blood sugar medication. My blood pressure medication, my cholesterol medication, everything's cut in half. So, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment at this point. And what I really like to do is to be able to, if possible, I'd like to be able to not take anything. And, other than maybe some supplements to keep me on track. And, so that's definitely been a big, big health benefit. Every time I go to a doctor, they're like, wow, you lost weight, and they write it down in their little chart. So I think, that's definitely something that's going to help me in the long run. Obviously my joint pain is, non-existent at this point. I can take a walk, I can ride a bike, I can do all these things. And I know it's still something that, I didn't undo the damage that I had from injuries or stuff like that. But with the inflammation gone, I just don't have that constant daily pain that I'm having to, endure too. Just I feel stronger, I feel happier, I feel healthier. I have more energy, more time, it feels like, to do things.
Hi there, we're here with Rachel, and Rachel is local to me, so I got to meet her in person and give her a hug in person, but we've been through quite a journey together. Do you know how long ago you started with me?
It's been 13 months.
Okay, 13 months, 13 months. So you want to tell us a little bit about your health leading up to me, starting with a bit before the Graves.
So the Graves was 30 years ago. That was back in college. And at that point, I had become vegetarian in college, and I got Graves' disease, and nobody suggested anything about diet. They just said, we have to remove your thyroid. So they gave me radioactive iodine and killed my thyroid and put me on hormone replacement therapy for the rest of my life, which I still have to take to this day because my thyroid doesn't work anymore. And it was a struggle to find the right dosage. I gained a bunch of weight when they took my thyroid out because they start you on a super low dosage to try to figure out what you're supposed to be on. And it was just a very stressful time. I remained vegetarian for probably 5 or 6 years after that. And that's when the concept of humanely raised meat started to become popular. So I was vegetarian for not really health reasons, just because I love animals. And so I started eating meat again, and I was pretty good for, another 20 years. But then I wanted to become vegan because there have been so many advances in tasty vegan food. When I tried to be vegan in college, the food was so bad, so bad. But it's come a long way. And so prior to meeting you, I had been vegan for about 6 years. And healthy vegan too. I didn't eat a lot of junk food. I ate tofu and, spinach and quinoa and lots of fruits and vegetables. But I started to get really painful joints. It started with one finger, and then it moved to a different finger on the other hand, and then it moved to my ankles, and then it moved to my elbows. And so it was clear that it was systemic. But I went to so many doctors, and I didn't test positive for any specific autoimmune disorder. At the same time, my mouth had become incredibly dry, and my eyes had become incredibly dry. And so my doctor that I ended up with determined was sort of, if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And so he treated me for Sjogren's, which is the dry mouth and eyes, and also rheumatoid arthritis, because all the symptoms I had were very similar to rheumatoid. So we started with methotrexate, and then that really didn't have much effect. And so he put me on all of the big bad anti-inflammatories that you see advertised on TV, Humira, Rinvoq, all of those. And I say all of them because he kept having to switch me from one to another because the side effects were so bad. And I got side effects like depression, which I've never been a person, and it was devastating. I have a whole new empathy for people with depression now. And I was gaining weight, and mostly I just was unable to live my life in any meaningful way. I stayed in bed a lot. and was constantly fatigued and in just incredible pain. And so when he wanted to move me to the fourth anti-inflammatory drug, I thought, I'm not doing this. And I didn't even tell him, but I was like, I got to find another way to do it. So I looked up nutritionists who specialize in disease, specifically autoimmune disease. And your name came up, and it was here in Cedar Park. So I was like, okay, I'll check her out. I'll see what she has to say. And that's how it started.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I remember your first call, you were sitting in a corner room in a chair in your house, and your heart was like so sad, right? And you're
Mhm.
like telling me all of this stuff. And when I hear somebody's progression of Graves' disease, I know. And so if anybody's listening to this and you have a thyroid condition, especially Graves, oxalates and things in your diet are attacking your immune system, is attacking your thyroid from the foods that you're eating. And it is like the vegetables and nuts and almonds and things that you think are healthy, but nobody told you to stop, you know?
Yeah.
And then
No.
you went vegan, which means we eat more of these plant toxins, which creates more damage. And if you have an autoimmune thyroid and you don't change your diet and lower your immune response, another autoimmune disease is likely to come, multiple, because nobody's
Yeah.
stopping the fire. And so
Yes.
always interesting when I meet somebody who's vegetarian or vegan, because when we got off the call, I thought, is she going to do it with me? Because it's a lot to wrap your head around, thinking, how am I going to eat animal again? You know?
Yep.
And I was like, if she's just brave, I know we can get
I
And
don't know
then
if it was brave or desperate. I was desperate. I was really desperate.
you were like, I don't have any other options. So like,
Yeah.
you were like, I don't really want to do this, but like, there's no other option. So like,
I would have tried a voodoo doll at that point. Like I would have tried anything. I really would have.
what were some
Yeah.
of your fears starting?
That it wouldn't work and that I was just going to have to live my life in this half alive state, that I was just always going to be in pain. And at first, like I started eating chicken soup, and I couldn't make any other kind of soup because I couldn't deal with eating other kinds of animals. Like chicken was hard enough for me. So I literally ate chicken soup for, I think, 90 days. I can't remember. I kept doing it because you kept saying, if you could just do it a little bit longer, it'll be really beneficial. So I kept doing it. And over that 90-day period, I was able to wrap my head around, okay, I have to do this, because if I don't do this, I'm going to be unwell forever. And like 4 days into it, 4 days into having soup, I had been a competitive figure skater as a kid. And so I hadn't been able to do lunges or squats or anything for probably 20 years because of intense knee pain. And I didn't even think about it, but 4 days after starting the diet, I got up off the floor without using my hands. I just pulled myself up with my legs and no knee pain. And I stood there for a second. I was like, what just happened? Because 20 years, and I love to work out, I love to lift, I love all of that. And I couldn't do squats or lunges. It was like, no, 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 no. And so that was the first sign. And that, I was like, okay, there's something to this, because my knees have been shot. And so it's like 13 months later, my knees are fantastic. I can do whatever I want. So that was motivation to keep trying it. And so I started with that. And then I eventually, after 90 days with the soup, I moved into other proteins, and probably, I can't remember the exact dates, but probably 6 or 7 months into it, I stopped taking any autoimmune medications. I had stopped the big bad ones when I decided to find a nutritionist, but I was still taking methotrexate just to get some sense of security and relief. And so I stopped taking the methotrexate about 7 months in, because I just wasn't having pain. And I wasn't having, I just could tell. I was like, I don't need this. I don't need to take this anymore. And so it's been probably 4, 5, 6 months since I've had any real pain. My dryness in my mouth is so much better. My eyes are so much better. It's still that my eyes are still dry. It's going to be a while, I can tell. That's a tough one, that Sjogren's, but the RA seems to have pretty much gone away. I'm hiking again, I'm playing pool again, I'm painting every day. Like I have my life back. And it's only, it was not an easy journey. It was not. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was tough. But the choice to stick to this diet or be ill again is a no-brainer. Like that for me is not tough at all. It's a cake. The detox from all the oxalates was tough. That was the hard part, but it's mostly over now. So, I just get to have a life again, which is phenomenal from food. Like it's crazy. Just food, like not medicine, not just food. But it turns out your body is wiser than you think, and it knows how to heal you if you just provide it the right environment.
Yeah. So thank you so much. The last question I want you to answer is, if you were able to go into a time machine and talk to yourself 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, what would you tell her?
I mean, I wish I could say, if you just eat this way, you'll be great, but that's not how it was for me. But a year before I met you, I went to see a functional medicine doctor, and she suggested that I cut out gluten. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm vegan. I'm already cutting out so much food. I'm not cutting out gluten. So just for me, it really just had to get bad enough that I was like, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I wish I could tell everybody that food is really like literally medicine, but I don't know how many people would be like me and just not really understand that until they had to suffer enough.
Yeah, that's an amazing response. Many people, sometimes people see me and I say, okay, here are the things that we're going to have to do. And I'm like, we're catching you at an amazing place. They're like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then they contact me 5 years later, and then
Yeah.
they're in enough pain and like found
Yeah.
out there's not any other answers. And they're like, okay, wait
I'm
for
ready.
it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And so if any of you hear this, if you're ready now, you can stop further stuff. I don't know that for sure, but there's a high likelihood,
Very high likelihood. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So thank you so much for your time and thank you for being brave. And if anybody is hurting out there from stuff, it doesn't mean that food and supplements are a magic miracle thing, but they can often give you your life back, which
Mhm.
is a miracle. I got
Yeah.
my life back. You got your life back.
Mhm.
It's a miracle.
100% worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Courtney.